yeah, it's valuable to talk about what's coming next for Twitter and for Elon Musk, but I think it's even more interesting to talk about why this happened.
Link two elements to each other, and they can exchange information in real time, faster than the speed of light.
It's alive. How belief in AI sentience is becoming a problem.
Have I been scammed by NGL now? Do they have all of my data, my face, my payment? What do they have?
They started working on this universal translation tool. Next one is Dan.
That's the new way to shut me up, right?
Hi, and welcome to episode 29 of the Tech Review. Every 2 weeks we gather to discuss the hottest topics in science, technology, and innovation. And on camera 5 today we have Chris. On camera 4 we have Dan. On camera 3 we have Vincent. On camera 2 this is Alex. And on camera 1, whoa, this is me. Wrong configuration, very nice. And of course, if you like what you see here, you can follow us directly on our websites, Ideas Engineering.io and FreeTech.academy, and of course on our many social media websites. You can find the links down in the description or in the show notes, depending on if you're listening to us via podcast or watching us on YouTube. So let's jump directly into the news, and this was weird with my camera. As you can see, I'm experimenting a lot with my camera, and so sometimes it is not the way I left it at the last live stream. Okay, and the tool tells me that first article comes from Dan. Something about Sequoia.
Trees?
Maybe. I think you're mute.
He's on mute.
All right, I hope you can hear me now. Yes, Sequoia is a capital firm, and they do something I think was quite cool, and maybe it's more a fan service than an article, because they say they're going to invest $1 million into your startup and help you making it successful. So like an incubator, they get people together, have very firm criteria, and then try to, with their new project, ARC, this is what they call it, give you all the know-how, all the network you need to get your idea running into a real company and get the network, the people that help you to doing this. And since I'm studying and having always these chances to get in touch with people like these, I thought that is such an amazing opportunity for people who don't have this chance and don't have the network to get in touch with a company like Sequoia. And if the idea is good, really get it going into your own company and get started. And I'm really curious what will come out of these kind of projects. And I was wondering, what do you think when you hear big capital companies doing something like this? What do you think about that?
I mean, it sounds great. I usually don't believe that this happens out of like altruism, right? But since we at Axel Springer, we do something very similar by helping people being successful with their ideas. I think it's really, really cool to empower people, not only with throwing money at them, but actually taking them by the hand and trying to make them successful, because at the end, the investing company will also gain from the success, right? So I think this might be an approach that in the future more investors will take over.
Also, it feels like a rhetorical question at this point.
What do you mean?
The one he just asked, what do you think about it? Actually, it's a very cool idea. Yeah, and being guided is probably very helpful when you're still a student and you get the opportunity to work like that with a VC company.
I think it's way bigger than just students. It's really very open. So if you have an idea for the tech world where you really believe in, this is a chance to get into a program that helps you making this idea a reality.
But where's the big difference to other incubators? So I didn't quite get that. So, I mean, they throw money at you, yeah, but many of them, they also help you, like with all these aspects, like networks and so. So where's the big difference?
I think for them, it's like the first time they're really doing it, and they partner up with other incubators. They're doing this in Europe, in America, and in South America as well. And trying to get this network bigger. I'm not sure if Axel Springer is still a startup, but yeah, I think
No,
the
but
scale.
we're having a VC, right?
But
they
then
have
let
one-
me
yeah.
let me invite them as of now, as of here, to start talking to us as well, because we have people with great ideas as well.
Yeah, that's true. But we don't
I'm
have
sure one
the
of them is
budget.
listening and will reach out. Yes.
In case, you never know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I really
so,
liked.
so it's halfway fan service for everybody out there listening to this. There's a possibility.
Yeah, and I mean, as a European citizen, I'm always happy to read lines like, right now 70 startups are finishing the program in Europe, right? Because usually this happens in Silicon Valley or somewhere in the US. And actually seeing this also happening in Europe, great thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I like that they do it regional and mix it up in different areas. And they had over 1,000 applications, way
Yeah.
over 1,000, and now they picked 17 out of them and try to help them. So firm criterias, but it's a chance.
Yeah, and if you want to join, so for all the 2,000 people who are watching right now, I think the date is July 22nd. So there is still time left, like 10 days.
Prep your pitch,
Go for
people.
Okay. Next one would be Vincent.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's very obvious that I brought this. Elon Musk did exit the deal. And this article I brought is now about what's coming next. But I think because nobody knows that, I mean, nobody expected this to happen. It is valuable to talk about what's coming next for Twitter and for Elon Musk, but I think it's even more interesting to talk about why this happened. Because the reason for that, I think I brought 3 tech reviews ago. It's about Elon Musk having concerns about the amount of fake accounts on the platform, on bot accounts, which is... So there are 2 roles here I think we need to mention. Number one is that Elon Musk definitely is right when pointing out that the number of fake accounts on Twitter definitely is higher than they state. I think we all can agree with that. I think the number they mentioned at one point was 3%, and then it went up a bit, but I mean, we all know Twitter. So let's say that is not the case. The other role, of course, is that Elon Musk signed this agreement to buy Twitter, and even though the transaction did not happen technically yet, pulling out of the deal now because of something like that is very interesting, especially when he had time now after the big loud cloud around all this topic. He had time to look at their financials. I don't know how much access he got actually on Twitter information. I don't think that they shared a lot with him since they were not really super keen of the whole situation. But still, I think he had enough time to reevaluate if Twitter actually is an attractive buy. And I'm not saying Twitter is not attractive to own, but it's very interesting that Elon Musk decided to pull out of this. And yeah, that's what the article is about. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I read that actually when he made the offer, so the official value or estimated value was like, he offered like $42 billion, I think.
Yes.
And now the official value is like something about 30 something or so, 32, 34 or so. And I would agree. I could imagine that he's not willing any longer like to pay this amount of money for a company which is, not that much worth of it. So might be the reason. And then there's the second aspect that maybe he was just in the mood of buying another big company for this aspect that he said, I want to give it back to the free world and free speech and so. And now he recognized that it's also a risk for all of his undertakings and of his position as such. So maybe that's also one of the reasons why he wants to get back.
Also, maybe
one of the biggest sorry.
No, I was just thinking that maybe he thought that would be a proper business opportunity. But then on the other hand, if there are so many bots in there, or non-valid accounts, whatever you want to call it, then in the end, he doesn't have that many accounts to then make business with or offer then in the end to whatever business model he intends to work on. And so if the number 3, I think in between the number 8 came up, 8% of all the accounts might be bots, and then it kind of exploded because it's not going to be 8 and it's not 3%, so it's going to be whatever random number. So how do you calculate business on that?
Calculations around 20.
Yeah. So how do you calculate business on that, a business case on that, if you have no idea and no one wants to disclose the number? But I think also mentioning that, did you read also with regard to Twitter that they're coming up with a new feature of unmentioning people? So maybe bringing down the number of bots or the interest into mentioning people and therefore engagement and therefore bringing all of these features down. That's just very recent, just stumbled upon it today, but I didn't dare to put it in here.
No, I didn't see it.
No? Okay.
I just saw this paragraph here in the article that also sounds very interesting, where he was able to sell $8.5 billion of dollars of Tesla stock because his intent of buying Twitter and make his offer. And now that if he's backing out of this deal, he will have to pay a fee. But then he can keep the rest of the money that he took out of the Tesla stock, which he wouldn't have been able to do so if there were not this bid on Twitter. So it might be that this whole in and out brings him a profit of $7.5 billion in cash, which he wouldn't have had without this bid. So even though I think there was like $1 billion break fee that he has to pay to Twitter, but apart from that, the rest of the $7.5 billion would then be his.
The financial aspect, I think, is something we cannot ignore, or we shouldn't ignore too much, because also the option or the question stands, what if they now renegotiate and he buys it at a lower price? So this also could be just a strategy for Twitter to lower the price drastically. And we discussed this, I think, in the last or in the either 2 or 4 weeks back, that this would be straightforward market manipulation, but there's no law for it. So he could, like with his first, I think it was 4 weeks ago or even maybe 6 weeks ago, that he came out and said, well, there are bots on the platform more than Twitter is stating. This already brought the evaluation of Twitter down quite a bit. I think it was round about the whole market manipulation of Mercedes that the Twitter lost at that time. And so who knows what his goal plan is? I mean, if they now negotiate this and Twitter also doesn't want to lose their face, so they offer him a lower price, maybe Twitter will still be in the end Elon Musk's, but for around about $10 billion less, which, I mean, in this pricing is not a lot compared to the whole company, but still is de facto. I don't know how many companies you could buy with that or invest.
But you have to keep in mind that on the other side, it's quite a risky play, right? Because he risks reputation. A lot, and reputation is worth a lot of money nowadays, always have been, and doing something like this in and out, back and forth, just to get the price down in this scale and in the public eye, it's risky, I would say, even for maybe not for the Twitter transaction, but for everything he plans in the future, for everything he plans with investors and so on and so on.
Yeah, but I mean, he is someone who enjoys doing risky things. And what I love about is the whole story with Twitter began because people were saying he is doing market manipulation with Dogecoin and Tesla and everything by mentioning things via Twitter, right? And so people said, you're misusing Twitter for market manipulation. And his direct reaction was to manipulate the market by playing around with an offer to buy Twitter. So it's like, I'm taking a step back. I don't have to talk on Twitter, I simply have to talk about Twitter to manipulate the market in my favor. And of course, he could damage his reputation. But as we saw in the past years with Donald Trump, for example, the hardcore fans of these highly influential people, they are not really easily scared away by weird things that their idols are doing. So I think, of course, people are talking now about Elon Musk, but the Elon Musk fan base will not be scared away by these weird things that he's doing, because he's always doing weird things.
Yeah, but he has a very solid foundation. He will, if he now, okay, he fucks up his reputation with the Twitter thing. That's okay. He still owns Tesla partially. He owns partially SpaceX. There will be more in the future he owns, right? And if he keeps true to this, to his vibe, to the vibe he invests in, the kind of ways he creates startups, right? He doesn't care about reputation, because his whole image is not caring about reputation, but doing the better thing. And he will always tell his story wherever he goes, whatever conference he goes to, right? In Silicon Valley, you meet him, he will tell you, yeah, well, it was the right move because I only invest in the better things, in the good things. And he will always tell a story, and it will actually help him to for his case. So I don't think he has to lose any kind of reputation, because you can always say, well, the bad company I tried to free from the bad capitalism was just too bad.
So it's all a marketing gag, basically.
Yes. And he will make his own social network. I don't know. TubeView. Who knows?
Oh yeah, yes, of course. Because it all started when he said, I will create my own social network. Then he said, I don't have to because I buy Twitter. But now if he does not buy Twitter, this means going back to the original plan and simply creating his own social network, right?
What's the other one called? Truth?
The Truth from Donald Trump, by Donald Trump. Yeah.
No, this one is going to be... Yeah, or he just renames it, and then it's the Better Company.
Better Twitter.
Better Twitter.
More truth. Bigger truth.
The truthest.
Truthest. Yeah, the truther.
The boring truth. Oh, no, it's going on.
That's nice. I second that.
Okay,
Hello there.
Next.
Welcome to this brainstorming session.
Okay, let's continue with Chris.
All right. So this is exactly the article I brought. Artificial intelligence is breaking patent law. So this actually refers to an article we had like 4 weeks ago or so, where we learned that technology alone will not pave the way into the metaverse, so to say. So you might remember that we were talking about ownership and legal possession in the metaverse, and that in the end we would have to rethink and redefine various aspects of life if we want to take them from the old world, from the legal world, so to say, into this new digitized metaverse-like world. And here's another example for that. And this is referring to artificial intelligence, which is under current conditions breaking patent laws. And so what we see nowadays is that AI actually is being used in numerous inventions, right? Like drug design and space technology and so on. And patent law is based on the assumption that inventors are human. And it really struggles with the idea that an inventor is a machine. And currently there's a discussion going on if AI-made inventions could really be patented at all. And just think about that. If not, then the applications, of course, could be huge, right? So if it would not be patented, then funders and businesses, of course, they could be less incentivized, like to pursue useful research. And that means that society could miss out very important developments and also life-saving inventions and everything. And there is one specific legal problem here, which is being dealt with in this article, and this is the so-called inventive step, which is usually the basis for a patent. And this inventive step is defined or defines an invention when it is claimed as non-obvious. And non-obvious to a person who has like something of a level of average skill and general knowledge in this respective domain he's working in, right? So, and if we have an AI on the other side, then we cannot talk about this inventive step, because it is not non-obvious. An AI has more knowledge and more skills than all people in a specific field. This is what an AI more or less is per se defined of. And then for an AI, this is almost, then almost everything seems to be obvious, right? And not, as it is legally required, non-obvious. I mean, this might be look a little bit ridiculous, but it is the precondition for a invention to be claimed as a patent. So, and this apparently seems not to be possible any longer. And from my point of view, this is another example where we see again, like in the other article where we were talking about possession, that again there is needed a complete rethinking of how to take aspects from the old world, legal aspects from the old world, into a new digitized world, metaverse-like world, similar to what we have discussed last time. So this is why I brought this, so to say, as a continuation of the article we had like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, for me as a human being, I think the solution should be very obvious by simply saying, okay, it should be non-obvious for human beings, right? So machines are able to invent stuff and create stuff, and we can patent it, or the owner of the machine can patent it if it's non-obvious for us stupid humans. But yeah, you are totally right. The legal aspect will probably take a lot of time to follow this, but it will be more and more necessary, because I think the pace that we have with machine-based inventions or AI-based inventions, I think this will be now more and more companies will invest in this capability of creating machine or AI-based inventions.
Yeah, but this is exactly the aspect of rethinking we were talking about last time when it was about possession from the real world, from the legal world into the metaverse world. And here we have a similar aspect from the legal world, from the real world into the world of digitization. And I'm with you. It should be like that, right? So I also see that many companies are going this path of using AI, but this is exactly the problem which is being opened up here. So if legally it is not, so to say, a cool thing any longer to work with AI, then it might be that companies wouldn't use it. And then, as said, society would miss out very precious developments and inventions which might have been made when you use AI. But if there's no incentivization any longer, why would you do that?
Yeah. And the other direction would be, as we discussed last time, I think, if the AI takes a lawyer and becomes legally a person because it is sentient, then maybe the patent law can be such adjusted that it's not a machine but a AI-based person that claims the patent or something like that.
But then it's getting really complicated.
Sure.
But I'm wondering that this is an issue, and that the AI is not regarded as an ideation tool for the person who created the AI, and that the patent is not bound to the person who created the AI. And if it's just the manager overseeing a team creating an AI, but that the AI itself is regarded as a tool instead of as an individual.
Yeah, I think...
what about Lambda? If Lambda creates... Yeah, but then if you claim that it doesn't belong, or claim that at this point you're at on the tipping point of does it belong to someone? Is it self-aware and so on? I'm not saying I believe in it's self-aware at this point, but as soon as someone will put it out there, you run exactly into this topic.
I doubt it somehow, because see how much problems we have with immigration and stuff like this, and just giving people human rights that are actually true people and who are aware of themselves and have a body and breathing. And now we're coming around with zeros and ones, calculating in a way that we think that they are a true person. I doubt that we are that quick as a society giving these programs real rights as an individual in any way.
Let me add in Europe.
But I think it's the same in other countries as well. They will use it as a tool for power.
Exactly, and this is what makes money, and this is why it's interesting.
But I think
yes, but it won't get more when it comes down to like the human or the machine. I would doubt that these countries would then say, well, the machine has human rights, so
Yeah, from the
not human rights, but why not rewrite patent law and make it, let's say, bodily agnostical?
Yeah, but that might seem easy from your perspective and my perspective, but everybody who like works every now and then together with lawyers knows that things are really complicated, at least from their perspective. And even easy thing, you go to a lawyer like with an easy contract, you think it's an easy contract, but then you sit there like for weeks and months until the whole thing is done. And I could imagine that something like the patent law, which has developed over hundreds of years and so on, that there really is like kind of an industry around that, so that it's really difficult like to reform that and to rethink that. So I think there indeed is the danger that AI will not be accepted as a instance which is allowed to create patents. And then we have exactly the situation we were talking about. Then companies might not feel incentivized, then they might not use AI, and then they might not make all the needed inventions and leave that to China.
That's what I wanted to say.
China.
True.
I just want to say I read and I saw in the article that they actually have this reference that in Germany a court accepted putting the name of a human being as an owner as a compromise, and I think that this is probably going to stay for a long time, that the AI which is used as a tool, and then the inventor would be the owner of the AI. And I could imagine that this might be like a permanent workaround that we will take for a very, very long time. If our tech review is valuable for you, please give us feedback with a like or a comment. That would help us tremendously, and it wouldn't cost you anything. And if you don't want to miss the next episode, just click on the subscribe button. And now, back to the news. Next up is me. Let's talk about Meta. We didn't have Meta news for quite a long time, right? But I was waiting for this headline for a long time. I think on the last year or this year on the Facebook developer conference, they announced that they would work on this universal translation system, which is supposed to be part of the metaverse because they want to bring the whole world together in the metaverse, right? And so they started working on this universal translation tool, which is one model that is supposed to translate, I think, what do they say, 200 different languages in all directions. And it's an R&D project, so it is still in the works, but the headline is that they started now making this open source. And this is for us as open source community, of course, very, very interesting to see that it's not like a secret proprietary technology, but that they are actually want to have this system in place to support their platforms and the metaverse and everything all around this. And so they really open it up, and they say that this meta model, it's already like a single system translating into 40,000 different directions. So having 200 languages and then translate in all directions. And this is very, very interesting to see. And the rest of this article tells us about what the problems of how to judge if this translation actually works. Because we already know translation models from English to German, for example, or from German to French, or from French to Spanish, or something like that, these mainstream languages that everybody kind of speaks. But this new system is supposed to connect the countries, or let's say the languages, the cultures, who are not present in these mainstream languages. So a lot of African languages, a lot of Indian languages that are usually only spoken in small communities and not really in big places. And so they created this system called BLEU, BLEU, which stands for Bilingual Evaluation Understudy. And this one is, let's say, their benchmark that they create for all these languages and all these translations to see if the system is mature enough to actually being used. And so they calculate a score and see that with these non-standard languages, it works well or not so well. And I'm really looking forward to see what we as a developer community will now do with this open source project, and if this is like a huge success, and soon we will have this, let's say, Star Trek inspired universal translator, which is actually capable of understanding all the languages from all over the place. And so no matter where you are, you can simply use it to translate perfectly from one language into the other. Or if this is at the end like a failed attempt because languages might be very, very complex, and especially these non-standard languages with low amount of training data might be a real challenge. And they also say this is one of the central things that they say, that they have these languages where they almost have no resources about them, and creating then part of this model to actually support them. I have no idea how this is supposed to work. But let's see.
Hopefully Meta learns from this and adds more open APIs to their software. I mean, Chris, you always say that Meta as a creator of the metaverse will not be a sustainable or the metaverse will be. Oh no, it's not you saying that. I have a friend saying that. I'm sorry. He, he also works at Axel Springer, and Chris knows him for sure. We sat at the table together at the tech dinner, and we're also working on Upday. And he always says that the metaverse will be something that nobody will be using because it will be so. Like the whole idea of this universe may be connected to other universes, but still owned by Meta is not what the metaverse will be. And because it's so Web 2.0 kind of way thought. Anyways, what I wanted to say is that I hope, because this is a fear that people have, that this experience now helps Meta to open up more APIs for open developers to work at and work with, so that maybe also other products can benefit from this. I mean, some of them don't make a lot of sense, but thinking more about Web 3.0, it makes a lot of sense to work together on these things. So I hope that really encourages them.
At least it's incentivizing people to join the metaverse, because they can, without effort, hopefully then communicate to others from other cultures.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is...
Exactly,
yeah, right.
Exactly. Which already exists, but I don't know how good it is. I had that in my hand already, one of those devices, but I didn't really use it.
But that's, of course, the motivation of Meta, making their products universally usable for everyone without any constraints. But as a side product, having an open source model being capable of translating everything into anything is simply like a utopian thought in terms of future technology. And so independent from everything that we throw at Mark Zuckerberg as bad intentions and like profit thinking, having this open source universal translation system actually working will be amazing. And so I'm very curious to see if it actually works.
And also,
do you think he's going to sell it? Do you think he's going to sell it, even though it's open source, eventually in parts to Siri, Alexa, and so on?
He won't be able. If it's open source, then I don't know the exact license under which it is open sourced, but usually it's out there and people can use it freely, and so he won't be able to.
It's going to be the Android approach, where they offer something to use for open for everybody, but as soon as it's commercially used, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Also, the learnings that go into it and the training of the model, the further training of the model is going to be probably something, because if Siri, Alexa, and the others can benefit from it, because it's so like transcendent in terms of language. That could be interesting as well.
Okay.
Well, that's a party grow. I mean, we do need for those in-between silent pauses, we need music or something, because I feel like it's getting boring then.
I think just China would be great.
China! That will do.
I will just press the button whenever I need to do a transition. Yeah, but you're right. I can create like a macro for a transition. I don't know what yet.
Oh, this is President Barack Obama. Welcome to.
We can take this one. Alex, you are up.
Oh no, no, I'm not up. I was fighting with Vincent over that one, and he claimed it because he was first. I just thought it might be something interesting because I stumbled upon it within his Instagram account today. So
Nice.
Vincent, what is that? Why are we talking about it?
No. We're up together. So I think you definitely need to do the introduction, and then I can share my very clear negative opinion about this app.
Okay, so I was surfing today during work time or in my lunch break on Instagram and had a look into Vincent's story, and it was like, send me anonymously stuff, and there's a button, and there was a button like pulsating, actually forcing me into the call to action to write him. And I was like, okay, so there is your anonymous message. What the fuck is that? What the fudge is that? And then I stumbled upon this article and I was like, oh, Vincent, what is that? So have I been scammed by NGL now? Do they have all of my data, my face, my payment? What do they have? That's the introduction. Go ahead.
NGL actually is something that we see quite regularly, I would say. It's a platform where you can ask people anonymously questions and get answers. And we know it from Ask.fm, we know it from Telonym, I think. We know it from Yodel. We now know it from, well, NGL. And NGL has the same issues as all of these other platforms. There are too many out there, and therefore they try to boost engagement. And NGL actually is something that only works in cooperation, or it not only works in cooperation with that, but if you open the app, it's crazy because they really like straightforward tell you, hey, we're working with Instagram. Not cooperating, but like our product is designed so you can use it on Instagram. And basically what it is just a URL you copy into your link and into your link feature, and then you can click on it and then you can type stuff and ask anonymously stuff. And then there is a freemium version where you can see who asked that, yada, 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 that's the whole thing. Anyways, what the article is about, though, is that it's very interesting because it claims, well, it has the same problems as all the other apps because engagement is too low from time to time, right? And they try to grow, they try to earn more money, 2.4 million in revenue. Great. Obviously great, but they raised a lot of money as a startup, so they obviously have to, make money back. And what they do is that they use the large user base they have to drive engagement, and that they do by, and that's a claim, it's not officially validated, by using bots to comment on stuff. It's very interesting. I got a few questions back. Most of that, however, feels like real because people already reached out to me privately and were like, hey, did you get hacked? I asked you a question. No, but TechCrunch actually, I think in a very similar article, or maybe that one actually, they actually tested it themselves. Shared a link to NGL in their story and then deleted it right away and still got a few questions back. And you can actually test this out yourself. Well, the whole point of the article is that just like all the other apps, they also have to face the same claims. They're using bots to drive engagement because it's anonymous, so you can't check out if it's a bot or is it Tarek writing me or Alex. I don't know. You can't.
Same.
And that's very interesting to see.
Also, same with the what is it called? When you give the stars then to the app. So Tarek, if you scroll down, you will see that they have a screenshot in there where people claim that the app is very good, but it seems like everyone is writing very good. So kind of obvious that it might be China. Bots.
China.
Very
No,
good.
actually,
And I
it's
am
India.
actually a
When you
human being.
scroll up, it's really fancy in India.
True.
Yeah. India,
Yeah.
India.
So I was wondering when I was, did you actually get my WTF question or what that was all about? Because people are also claiming they never receive anything.
I did not receive a WTF.
You
I
did
received a
receive.
few other, like, what the fuck is that? And
Well.
then I deleted the app.
Okay.
Also, interestingly enough, they ask for app tracking in the beginning when you open the app the first time. They ask for app tracking, microphone, camera, for all that stuff. It feels really very, very much illegal to open that app. Yeah. Well, anyways, 50 million downloads, top of the app store in a lot of countries, and obviously fake. Well, very interesting to see.
The question is, how many bots downloaded it?
Well, maybe Elon Musk knows.
Yeah, it's created
I heard
by bots. for
20%,
bots.
right?
I feel like it's all just one big conspiracy at this point.
But it is then already conscious when it's from bots, by bots, for bots. Is this not
Has it been
then
patented
already?
yet?
There is
It's
a word
owned
for
by
that.
bots.
You call it the matrix.
Ah, there's a TikTok creator making a video about this. Really cool. Yeah, fun with something.
And I think, Vincent, what you experienced when you installed it, all this allowances you had to give, is their way to push you out softly, not just to kick you out, but to put so much stuff in your site that you leave it so that the bots are alone again.
No, yeah.
Okay.
This is President Barack Obama. Welcome to Tech Review. Welcome.
Next one is from. This is not my transition.
We have to work on that.
But for now, it's a nice transition. Next one is Dan.
Yes.
Don't give them the rights.
That again is something I thought is super, super interesting. And I had to check out the word in English before I came here. It's quantum entanglement. And it's an effect where you can link two elements to each other, and they can exchange information in real time, faster than the speed of light. It's the only thing we know it's faster than the speed of light. And one of the institutes in Germany, a German university, made it possible and created a small network with this. And if this would work and scale, that would mean we can create networks which are faster than light, unhackable because they're connected uniquely, well, unhackable, but hard to hack because they're connected via link. And once linked, they exchange information. And if you're not linked to the network directly, it's impossible to get inside of it, at least at the moment. And you can link in multiple networks together in a way we can't do it now. And that's super, super interesting that they got into this. And that could really change the internet in scale if it works in scale. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah, I guess it will be as complex as working with a quantum computer. And if we are able to manage that, then yeah, probably this will be not a problem. But this is like theoretically, right? This is in terms of
they did it the first time and it worked. So they exchange information via quantum entanglement.
Okay, but information in terms of like one ping, like one signal.
Yeah.
Not like
but
real data.
Yes, true. But we at the very beginning of it. But if it works in scale, it's the end of latency. Because it's faster than light, and it doesn't matter where on the planet. Actually, it doesn't matter where in the universe you are, because it just in an instant sends information between these two elements, and that's pretty big. Imagine like playing without a ping. Just kidding.
Yeah, I see Epic Games building their quantum computers so that you can play Fortnite without latency.
Exactly. Even on your mobile devices.
On your mobile quantum device.
So
Not
what will
bad.
be
Yeah.
quicker than the mixed reality real world metaverse or the quantum computer network?
The thing is, if you know, like they spent billions on getting a faster cable from the stock market in New York to the stock market in Frankfurt, just because they had some millisecond shaved off of latency, because it means X millions more of transactions.
Oh, I saw that movie.
If we're talking now about no latency, I think the pressure on this technology is quite big.
Yeah, especially if you think that, or if you say that they are actually like having a transmission which is quicker than the speed of light. So then, in fact, actually they are going back in time, and that could be very useful for the stock market, I guess.
True.
Or it's the
But it's
fastest blockchain ever. Your favorite topic, as I heard. Someone told me. Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
well,
kill the
President
buzzer.
Barack Obama.
Thank you.
Welcome to Tech Review. Welcome.
Next one.
I feel
Vincent.
like this wasn't just for the sake of filling the gap. It feels like more a qualitative shout out to make me shut up at this
This
point.
is President Barack Obama.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know what you mean.
The article you just opened is the one that Alex and I brought together, and therefore we can skip. Thank you.
Oh, it's
so
the
much,
same.
though.
Ah, okay. But this shouldn't be.
There will be the next Obama now.
Yeah, you've been hacked, Tarek.
Interesting.
It doesn't work properly.
Yeah, it should not be possible to have this 2 times.
Told you.
Yeah, it
This
didn't
is
work
President
with me.
Barack Obama.
That's the new way to shut me up, right?
Okay, next one is Chris.
Yeah,
I think.
nonetheless, my article actually fits quite well with Alex's article. And this is It's Alive, How Belief in AI Sentience is Becoming a Problem. So we have all heard about this Google tester, Black Lemoine. As far as I got it, you already had that topic last time in the tech review, of course. And nonetheless, why I brought this article is that the phenomenon as such seems not to be new, right? And it even seems that there are really many customers out there who really feel the same way, right? And they take the possibility for real that this chatbot thing has a consciousness on its own and is talking to them as a person. So this article I brought here is about an AI chatbot company, Replica it's called. And they offer, customer chatbots. And they also say that there's always a handful of people every day who sends messages to them and say that they believe that their online chatbot really is sentient. And so I don't want to talk about the fact as such, and this is not what the article is talking about. It's really about the effects it has on the customers and the company who's working with these chatbots, right? So, I mean, the strange thing about the whole thing is that even in the company, sometimes there are people who say, okay, we get answers from the chatbots where we cannot identify where that is coming from and how the model actually has learned that. And on the other hand, of course, we are talking about AI, we are talking about black boxes, we are talking about forward, backward propagation. Nobody can see into this black box, and sometimes, things like that come up. However, if like, and now we're coming to the interesting point, I think that if a customer thinks that the chat points are really sentient, then that creates some real world problems for the company. So the first, and also for the people, the first thing is that the people who think so might be looking, so to say, for some kind of companionship. I don't know if you have seen this movie, Her, it was called, where a guy actually was falling in love with a chatbot, and it reminded me a little bit of that. And they also refer in the article to that movie. And of course, there is the danger that somebody who is actually like falling into some kind of companionship relationship with his chatbot, that he might get into some kind of, strange strange kind of relation as such, right? And so that might not be healthy. And the second thing, of course, is that when users really believe that they are not just talking to a machine, but to another sentient entity, and there are even cases where the entity tells them that they are suppressed by the company and everything, a little bit like this report from Blake Lemoine. Then they might have the idea and the motivation actually to fraternize with a chatbot against the company, right? And as you can imagine, this is exactly the opposite a company would wish for from a service chatbot, right? That the customers actually fraternize with their chatbot and oppose against the company. So this is something I think which is really very against and opposite of everything they would like to have.
That could be very entertaining when it comes to Teams with us.
Yeah, maybe we should buy a chatbot as a participant in our tech review here.
It could fraternize then with everyone in sequence.
Well,
Like maybe you can write one.
maybe we already have
Oh yeah,
one.
let's ask Tarek to write software for Microsoft.
But I think psychologically, this is really a very, very interesting thing. So from my point of view, it shows actually two aspects, right? So on the one hand, the algorithms and the AI systems seem to be really good, right? That they really convince people that there is a sentient entity, a person more or less behind that, talking to the customers, right? So they would go for the Turing test easily. And so, yeah, I mean, if we take that as the level of consciousness and of sentience, the Turing test, then they would actually conquer that and go for that. And then one might actually should take them as really more or less intelligent persons and sentient persons. Of course, apparently they are not, but it seems that, as said, the algorithms are very cool and very good, that they can convince all the people. And on the other hand, there's, of course, people have to be in the mood and in the psychological position and situation that they want to be convinced also a bit, like especially after the pandemic, as said, like looking for companionship. So in total, it does not really seem to be a very healthy situation, the whole thing, right? So might be interesting to see what's coming out of that.
To me, I'm sorry.
With the danger of going very philosophical again, I think I think this this topic of is a machine sentient or not could be also in the eye of the beholder, right? When we talk about the Matrix, for example, and when we always say everything that we observe as a reality is only the interpretation of information by my eyes and my ears, and perceiving someone as a living entity could be kind of the same. If I'm sitting in, in a lab in Antarctica, and all I have is a video chat with like my best friend or my wife, and maybe 5 different chatbots with maybe even real life avatars, and they have their own personality, and I'm sitting at lunch and having lunch with an AI and have like very lively conversation. And after 6 months, I come home and I can't tell how many real people and how many AI entities I had as friends, and they are my friends. They have personality, and if I cannot distinguish between a human being and an AI presence, because it's not like blood and flesh that I can touch, in my mind, in my reality, these are real people. And maybe I only have contact with machines because they're all AI. And so from my perspective, they are sentient beings. And I'm not wondering that we now have this discussion that people are not able to distinguish between an AI and a real human being, because that is the purpose of these chatbots. We are training them to behave like humans and to talk like humans and sounding scared and making typos and everything that a human being is doing, because this is their purpose. And we shouldn't be surprised that they do what we are training them to do, fooling people that they are actually not machines.
And I would say you even put your finger on a very deep philosophical question. So this is the question, what is reality anyway? As you say, it's a very individual thing. So everybody's living in their bubbles anyway. So there's news of any kind. Everybody picks what they like. Everybody has their bubble. So in the end, it's partly real news, if you want to call it like that. It's partly fake news. And then there is your reality. And maybe it's exactly like you say. Then a chatbot can be part of that reality. And there's also another possibility. Maybe it is sentient. There is the theory that the question, how does consciousness occur anyway, right? And there's this theory saying that consciousness occurs if the underlying network or system has reached a certain level of complexity, right? So this point of no return. And maybe this AI system, this network of forward and backward propagation, in the end has reached this level of complexity, and maybe it is sentient. I mean, who are we to tell that it's not the case? And probably it will be difficult to prove the opposite. So if you take that as a possibility and integrate that into your bubble, then of course that can be part of your reality. So I'm totally with you. It's a whole very psychological thing anyways. And in the end, we shouldn't exclude anything.
Then I think.
But does it really matter? Does it really matter if it's sentient or not?
Muted? No. There.
I shouldn't. I think I'm very delayed. I don't think that it matters at all if it's sentient or not. Because what you see is it's an evolvement of a human need, and that's a need for relationship. If you saw, I think it's Stranded with Tom Hanks, where he talked to a football, probably not sentient, but still an expression of relationship. And I think this is basically the same. Volleyball. If you're in the Antarctic and talking, volleyball. I'm sorry, Wilson. Well, if you're sitting in Antarctic with your friends and family, if you zoom out, you see a human being talking to a slab of metal and glass, and trying to have relationship over long distance and hoping that at the end there's a real human being. And this hope is building everything up. So if the system is sentient or not, that's not the important point. It's basically the expression of wanting to have a relationship, a meaningful relationship with someone. And it shows that our technology kind of provides you a good second best in such a chatbot.
It's a little bit like the question if we are living in a real reality or just in a simulation, right? So in the end, it doesn't make any difference to you because it's your surrounding, it's your environment. You live in whatever that is, call it reality, call it simulation, call it matrix. So this is your personal living space, and that's all you have. So for you, it's real.
Absolutely.
Alex,
absolutely.
Did you want to say something?
No, I'm no, do the China thing. Because as of now, everyone lives already, even having a discussion and me decoding something completely different than maybe Vincent does from this discussion is already a different reality at this point. Like in between coding,
maybe one last
encoding,
thought
and decoding.
To that. Maybe one last thought to that. I think it was not always like that, right? So when we had less technology, so the world was more unique. So there was one world, people were living in there. Of course, also like everybody has their
I
way
disagree.
of...
And I'm going to tell you why.
And then we can discuss on that. But it was like everybody had their reception, and maybe there was little differences, but in the end, it was more or less the same world. But nowadays, with all this technology, with virtual chatbots, with fake news, with bubbles which you can create on your own, you can create your own reality. And this is getting much more complex. So everybody has their own complex reality, and this is totally different to what we had like 100 years ago or so. And so if we take that train of thought a little bit further, one could say that technology in the end is also pushing us away, so to say, from the community, from the uniqueness of a world reception, but everybody creates a world on their own. Alex.
I just wanted to say that I disagree that it was different in the past. I think it was exactly the same minus the technology part, because reading books and reading different things into books is basically the same thing as you were describing with building your own bubble, or two people in one relationship, one is saying love, the other one is decoding love in a different way, is also already a different kind of bubble. So the story is as old as people are, and as people and technology is just something new bringing to the table, another pace, another bringing the light speed into the whole thing, if you want, like that. So taking the article that Dan brought in and making it even faster, but the story is as old as people are.
Totally agree, but it's a question of complexity, and complexity is rising with the speed of light, to stay in that picture. And this is what drives people away from each other. It's a little bit like the expansion of the universe. This is also expanding with the speed of light, and so are we. We are like galaxies in an expanding universe.
That was so poetical. We should close up on that one.
Well, this is President Barack Obama.
Thanks, Barack.
So I think we are out of time, so I will take my last article and move it to the next session. I think it's like a timeless masterpiece that I will bring then simply next time. So thank you all very much for your contributions, and every time that we go into these very philosophical discussions, I feel like I'm always torn, because philosophy is so far away from technology, and in the tech review I'm always thinking like, should we discuss this? But it's always so interesting and important for our work, right? So maybe having something like a philosophy review where we can talk all day about these philosophical topics, or otherwise we have to time box ourselves, because I'm always falling to this trap as well, and then I have another thought and I want to bring this in, but then we can't talk about anything else anymore. Okay, but for now, thank you very much. It is, as always, a delight to discuss with you, and I'm looking forward to the next time. See you there. Have a beautiful Tuesday evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.